Good evening, everyone. My name is Joe. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to explain remix.js in 5 minutes. What is remix.js anyway? It's a full-stack web framework based on React.js, pretty similar to Next.js. However, unlike the latter, it doesn't use fancy wrappers or whatever. It uses basic web standards for data fetching, for submission, and so on. And also, it doesn't act as a full-blown server, but a handler on top of other servers like an Express.js server or Vercel or Netlify. And it has file-based routing that is built in thanks to React Router, so you don't need nested folders for any nested routes. You can also prefetch data before you navigate to the other page, and so much more. Now you might be asking, why remix.js over Next.js or React? Well, like I mentioned earlier, it has basic React built-in React router support, so you get access to hooks and fancy functions to handle loading in error states. And because of that, there's no need to add use state everywhere. So basically, less state management, less overhead. You also get progressive enhancements, so you can be able to submit forms with JavaScript disabled, for example. And last but not least, you get a more flexible form handling than in Next.js. So because you have the fetcher, which we'll get into later on in this video, you can basically submit a form without having to navigate to another page. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Now let's take a look at how to set up a remix.js application. To get started, open up the documentation and click on Get Started. Copy this command to create a new remix project using the create remix CLI. Now once you do that, open up in Terminal and paste this command right here. And now follow the steps to create a new project. Give your project a name, install the dependencies, and so on. Once you create a new project, your folder structure should look like this. And we want to focus on the app directory for now. So go right here. You have entry.client.tsx, entry. These are just entry files to hydrate the client and server parts of your application. Root.tsx is just the root, the main functionality of your application, things like outlet scripts and live reload. Now go to routes here. Index.tsx, this is basically our home page. So first you want to type in npm run dev. Now your application should look like this with all of its boilerplate. Let's go ahead and create a new route. So create a nested route. All you have to do is type in a.b.tsx. So what that means is basically RFC AB. What that means right now is that if you go right here, /a, you get nothing, but you get /b, you have AB because you don't have any index route for the A route. So let's go ahead and to a.tsx. Now we have our A page, and inside this we're gonna have A. We go back here, you get just A because you haven't defined the children. To do this, all we have to do is just place an outlet component. This is re-exported from React Router, and now we have A and AB. Now, if you want the AB to be independent from A, all you have to do is just go right here, rename. And the second route, the B route, put an underscore so that it acts separately as an independent route rather than a nested one inside of A. All right, I apologize. The underscore is put after the A, not before the B, so you can avoid having nested layouts. So refresh, there it is, AB. Again, my mistake. I'm still new to this. I'm just explaining what I've learned so far. Now, as far as dynamic routes go, all you have to do right now is, in order for a dynamic route to create a dynamic route, all I have to do is just put an underscore here so that it's not a nested layout, and then $id.tsx. Now to get access to the ID from the URL, all I have to do is import the use params hook. Now inside the function, type in const params and call the use params hook. Last but not least, get the ID from the params object, and now you get the ID from the URL. Make sure it is the same as the name of the parameter you typed in after the $sign right here above, because this is very important. Now you have functions like metadata function, which basically defines the metadata for your application. So you have things like title, name, content, and so on. Now to fetch data, all you have to do is create a loader function, which is asynchronous, and fetch the data like you would with await fetch, and then return the JSON object. And then you wrap the JSON in another JSON function that we imported at the top from remix.run. Now use the useLoader data function hook to extract the JSON that was fetched. Now you can use it in your front end by mapping over the users, for example, the ID and username. All right, there you go. Now if you click on anyone, you get the ID. Now to get the user by their ID, we'll do the same as before, but we're adding an extra parameter to get the ID as such. So we fetch the URL and then we add the params.id. And now we return the user. After that, we wrap it in a JSON object like we did earlier. We extract the result of the useLoader data hook, which is user. And finally, you can display data as such on my right-hand side. You can easily add loading states with the useNavigation hook, also re-export it from React Router. So you can get loading states and make it reflect on the UI. Last but not least, form handling. Now to create a form action, you just define the action function, and then you define the request as a parameter from which you extract the form data object, so you can get the different properties according to the labels you define down below, and you post whatever function you have or create whatever user you put in the front end, and then you can finally display the JSON as such. So if I do this right now, and once you create that user, you can get the data back. So ID 101, because from dummy JSON you get 100. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a lot more that goes on in Remix, but I just wouldn't have time to explain all of it in 5 minutes. So once again, thank you guys for watching this video. If you like it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.